If you've started planning for the next homeschool year and you're wondering whether to stick with what you know and love or pivot for the sake of skill building, then you might want to stick around because we are in the same exact boat. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cynthia from themissionfieldhome.com. And today we're going to be talking about our plans for the upcoming school year. So this would be the 2026 to 2027 school year. Come the fall, I will have a fifth grader, a third grader, first grader, and then a toddler slash maybe first year of preschool. We'll see. I recently did a homeschool update on my blog and I talked about all the things that were working. And I have to say that most of those things are still working. My daughter's going to be in fifth grade in the fall, and I feel like this is a time for me to get her ready for middle school. I know that not a lot of people consider sixth grade to be middle school. I personally feel like it's part of middle school, even though it is kind of like an intermediate grade level. So it's not really elementary, but not really middle school, but somewhere in the middle. So for me, getting my daughter ready in fifth grade for the middle school years is very, very important. I don't want to wait to the sixth grade to start building on those skills that she's going to need. I want to start that now in the fifth grade. I want to preface this by saying that by no means do you have to change what's working if it's working. We use the good and the beautiful for language arts, and it's worked. We've used it from the very, very beginning. I started homeschooling my oldest daughter when she was in preschool, and then we did pre-K and kindergarten. And so I've homeschooled from the very beginning with all four of my kids, three that are currently in school. And we have used the good and the beautiful from the get-go. We absolutely adore the good and the beautiful, and we're still going to be using it in our homeschool. My younger kids will still be using that, but we will be switching to something more kind of DIY. We're just going to be using different resources from different homeschool companies just because although she is getting the practice that she needs, I feel like there are other things that we really want to focus on. I'm talking about like writing skills, grammar skills, reading comprehension, and spelling. And we are currently in the fourth grade level for the good and the beautiful for my oldest. There are some challenging parts for her. I feel like there could be just a little bit more. Like in the writing section, the writing workshop, which is like writing and spelling together, I don't think that she's getting enough of that practice. Although what is offered in the curriculum is good and it is challenging, I would like to have just more writing practice, more writing of paragraphs, learning to write essays, learning to edit what she's written, figuring out, hey, what needs to be fixed, what punctuations go where. And I feel like with the good and the beautiful, although again, she's getting the practice that she does need, I feel like there could be more. And so for the next school year, we are planning on not doing the good and the beautiful anymore for my oldest and just using resources from different companies. For spelling this school year, we stopped spelling for her, but I am going to bring it back for fifth grade. I just want her to really focus on learning to spell those bigger words. And so with the smaller words, she had that down packed, which is why I decided not to do spelling for her this school year once she did finish the previous level. But for fifth grade, we are going to bring it back. Reading comprehension is another one that I had stopped, I think, maybe not this last school year, maybe 2 school years ago. Point is that we are going to bring reading comprehension back just because my daughters have been reading so much more. And although I know they're remembering what they're reading, those are books that they read for like their own enjoyment. And of course, a book that you read for your own enjoyment, you're going to remember because you liked the book. It's something you're reading for fun. Whereas when it comes to schoolwork and it's an assigned reading or even just a passage in the curriculum, sometimes I feel like the passage in the curriculum seems to be a lot more boring than her reading something that she likes. for example, a graphic novel. She loves graphic novels and she will read that and she will talk about the book and talk about the best part, the funniest part, and all of that. She will draw comic books and try to make her own graphic novel and all that. And that's great. But I feel like when it comes to like the curriculum based, right? The learning part, even though you can still be learning if you're reading for fun, but the part where I want to sit and just make sure that are you really comprehending this? I feel like we could do a little bit more on that side. And so we're going to be bringing back reading comprehension. In the past, I have used Evan Moore's reading comprehension by grade level, and we have really enjoyed it. A couple years ago, we did their reading comprehension and their reading fundamentals. I think it was their reading comprehension fundamentals. I feel like having both of those together was just extremely overwhelming because it was just tons and tons of reading. In the reading comprehension, there was a lot of reading, and then we would have the fundamentals part, and like the passages were extremely long. And she was in third grade, I think, at the time, either second or third grade, and it was just too much. And that was part of the reason why we just pushed that to a side. But because we're not going to be doing a like thorough curriculum, like a language arts curriculum, I feel that if I bring back both of those, we should be okay because we're not going to be doing everything every single day. I'm not really sure how I want to do it yet, but I know that we are going to bring back reading comprehension one way or another. Now, if you know, and this goes for like everything I'm going to talk about today, if you know of a curriculum that sounds like it can meet my needs, our needs in our homeschool, definitely let me know because I've been doing research. Like, I'm preparing a kid for middle school now, and it's not as easy as it was just getting them ready for elementary. Elementary is just very basic knowledge, and although it's extremely important, I feel like it's so much easier to figure out what a child needs at those, like during those younger ages, versus now we're preparing for middle school. And yes, you still need to practice those fundamental skills, but we also have to work on a little bit more. And the point is that just preparing for middle school is different than just preparing for the lower elementary grade levels. So I am doing research trying to see what else is out there. I've seen so many curriculums for elementary, and there are curriculums that we currently use, but it's been very hard to find curriculums that are just that lean more towards what I'm looking for. And so if you have any recommendations for like a different reading comprehension curriculum or any other curriculum that you think might help me prepare my fifth grader for middle school, definitely let me know. I'm open to all recommendations. Another thing that we're going to really lean heavily into is grammar. We've been using grammar for, I want to say, about a year and a half already. Fix It Grammar from IEW. I started off doing one lesson a week, and I felt like at the time that was okay. But as of 2026, when this year entered, I started having my daughter do a lesson a day. So we're doing the 4 lessons a week, but I'm also going to incorporate grammar for my upcoming third grader. And then my fifth grader, she will be just moving up a level. So we're going to lean into that, and we're going to continue to do 4 lessons a week versus 1 lesson a week because I feel like this is a time where she really needs to build on that. Writing skills is another one. The 4th grade Good and the Beautiful curriculum really does help with the writing, but I just want more practice. I feel like it's been great. It really has. She's learned how to be more like descriptive in her writing, which is great because it's not just bland writing, but definitely more practice, which is why we're leaning away from the Good and the Beautiful for this school year or for the upcoming school year and just trying to see what other writing programs there are out there. I know that IEW has a writing program, but honestly, you guys, I saw the price and it's extremely expensive. I am back. Baby boy woke up from a nap. He's not feeling all that great today. So yeah, got him back to bed. But the last thing I was saying is that IEW's writing curriculum, I believe it's called Structure and I don't remember it right now. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But it is really expensive. And I get that The price reflects the quality, but when you homeschool multiple children, sometimes like you try to scale back on how much you're spending on curriculum. You still want to give your child a really good education. You still want to give them the resources that they need, but you don't want to spend a lot of money because you're buying stuff throughout the school year. You're having to buy everyone's individual curriculum, and it adds up. That's just the reality of homeschooling. It adds up and it comes out of your pocket. You're not paying the government to buy these curriculums or these resources for your children. You are paying for it and it adds up. With IEW's writing curriculum, it's a lot structure and style. I remembered. It's a lot of money. And so I'm debating whether I'm going to go with them because I do like IEW's. I love the company, what they offer. I love all the programs that they offer, but I'm just trying to figure out what is reasonably priced that I can get and maybe even use for the future with my younger ones once they get there. Writing is where I'm really struggling to like find a curriculum. So yeah, if you know of any company that offers a good writing curriculum or writing program and it's affordable, let me know. As for language arts or English for my upcoming third grader and upcoming first grader, we're going to stick with the good and the beautiful. They're doing really good. They're thriving. I don't think that at this moment they need more practice in certain areas. They're doing really good. They're getting what they need. And so we're going to stick with the good and the beautiful for those grade levels. I did bring back spelling for my current second grader just because I noticed that she would ask me multiple, like she's really good at reading, but for some reason she was struggling a little bit with spelling, even spelling simple words. When she would be writing on her own or just for fun, I would notice that she would ask me how to spell multiple times, even with like the smaller words. And so I said, okay, we need to practice, get a little bit more practice on spelling. So we brought spelling back for second grade and we just started. We are on week 4 of spelling now. Once she's in third grade, she will continue spelling. And then my first grader, my current kindergartner who will be in first grade, I think I am also going to bring in spelling for him because I did the same thing with my girls and it worked and it helped them really build those reading skills that they needed. And they're thriving readers right now. And so I want my son to be at that same level, obviously at his own pace. But if I can help build up that reading skill, then we're going to do everything possible to build it up. And so we might bring in spelling for him, just depending on how he does the rest of the school year. Math is going to stay the same. We are absolutely like obsessed with math with confidence. If you're new here, we did master books the very first year. I did master books with my oldest, and it was just too gentle. It was just, I could not handle the gentleness because it was not challenging enough. Like there was no challenge for my daughter. So that's when we switched to the good and the beautiful's math. And even with that curriculum, I felt like there was a lot that she just was not getting. There was not enough practice and it was not challenging enough. And then we moved to math with confidence, and we have been using it for about 3 years now, 3 to 4 years. And we really do enjoy math with confidence. It is challenging. It has all the practice that I would want any child to get when they're learning a concept. And so for fifth grade, third grade, and first grade, we are just going to continue going through those curriculums, going through each grade level. And I'm hoping that Kate Smith, I think is her name, Kate Snow, that she continues into middle school years. I know she has the fifth grade level. I can't remember if she came out or is coming out with sixth grade, but I just hope that we can continue math with confidence even through middle school because I really enjoy the curriculum. My kids do too. What is going to change, and I'm actually going to start implementing that now, like starting next week, is how we do loop programs or loop curriculum, which is science, geography, and history, and then Bible. But Bible is more of, it's one of those curriculums where although it's considered a loop thing, we don't do it every day, but it's something that I still want to have in every single week for sure. what I'm planning on doing, and the reason why I'm going to switch to this is because we've been using the same history curriculum for 2 years now. Part of the reason why we're still in this curriculum is because we did move, like we sold the house, we stayed with family, then we rented, then we moved back in with family, and then we bought the house that we're in. And so there was a lot of transition for a good like year and a half to 2 years, and we didn't use the curriculum as much as I would have liked to. And so we're still in the same history curriculum that we were in back in 2023 and 2024, and it is now 2026. I feel like I don't want to say overwhelmed. Let's just be honest. I do feel overwhelmed at times when every day during the week I have multiple things to do. And I've noticed that I think my kids are feeling overwhelmed too, because we're trying to fit in science at least once or twice a week. We're trying to fit in history at least once or twice a week, geography once or twice a week, Bible study. And it's just too much. It's too much, especially for this age group that I have. It's just too much to do in one day. We're talking handwriting to like just all these things that we're trying to loop in. I said to myself, I cannot continue to do this because we're starting to get frustrated. It's just too much. The school days are like going very, very long. By the time it's like 3 or 4, I'm trying to finish up independent work with them, but I'm also trying to get dinner on the stove. And so I decided that we're going to switch the way that we do it. Instead of looping the curriculums throughout the week, we're going to do it by 6 weeks. So like for 6 weeks, we will do history. The next 6 weeks, science. The next 6 weeks, geography, and so on. And we're just going to do it that way because it'll give me time to really focus on that one curriculum. History, for example, which is the one that I'm just like, we've been in this for so long. And we got to get it over with. We got to move on to the next book in the curriculum. I feel like if I focus on that for 6 weeks and I bring that curriculum into our days at least twice, max 3 times a week, I feel like we can really get through it faster than what we have. And if you didn't know, Not Grass History, the one that we're doing right now, it has 2 booklets. We are still in book 1 that we started back in 2023. And so I need to, for my own sanity, I need to get to book 2 already. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to do 6 weeks of one curriculum, 6 weeks of another, 6 weeks of another, and so on. And we're just going to keep looping them every 6 weeks. Bible is the one that it's going to be continual. Like we're not going to stop doing that for a period of 6 weeks. It's going to be included. Bible's the only one. So we'll do, for example, we can do like a Tuesday and a Thursday. We'll do Bible study and history. Thursday, Bible study, history. And then if I need to add like handwriting or whatever else I need to add for those days, then I'll add it. But we will no longer be doing Bible study, history, science, geography, trying to add everything in one day. Too much. Other than that, I think that's really it for any plans that we have for the next school year. Everything pretty much stays the same except for, like I said, language arts for my oldest daughter is what's really going to change the way we're going to do it. We're just going to be grabbing resources from different areas or different companies and seeing what we can work with and just, build on the skills that she really needs to build for the middle school years. We know that in middle school, there's a lot more reading. You might have assigned reading. You might have more writing, not might, you will have more writing in middle school. And so I just want my daughter to have strong writing skills, strong reading skills, strong grammar skills, and all the other skills that she's going to need in middle school. And so, yeah, which is why I've sat down these last couple weeks and just like brain dumping almost every day, trying to see what do we need to focus on in 5th grade. 3rd grade, we're just going to flow with it. 1st grade, we're going to flow with it. And then another thing that I want to start doing come the fall is start giving he'll be 2. So my 2-year-old, I want to start giving him more like educational activities. He's 1 right now. The majority of our school days, he's running around making messes and we're just chasing after him and then coming back to the table to work and then chasing after him and then coming back to the table to work. That's just our reality right now. But he's 1. He's still a baby. We do put like educational videos for him sometimes or songs on YouTube, but there's nothing really structured like at all. And so come the fall, I do want to just incorporate like a couple more educational activities for him just so that he can get started with his learning, like basic learning skills. And I think for him, that's really it. Another thing, before I forget, another thing that I am going to change is my planner. I have my notes here right now, but you guys know I've shared this a couple times. I'm using my Sterling Ink planner as a home management and homeschool planner because I have not really had to like write so much. For the most part, we just go on to the next lesson in every curriculum. Now, with the way that I am going to be teaching my oldest daughter come the fall, I do know I'm going to need a lot more space just to write down what we're working on. And so I decided that I am going back to plum paper planner. This is the 2022 to 2023 planner. And I was flipping through this morning and I said, yeah, we're going back to it. Like I'm not gonna lie, I miss having a big planner like this. It's so convenient having everything in one planner. But as my kids get older, I know there's gonna be more things that I have to document and be more specific about. So I think now is the time to just go ahead and do it. Yeah, I was flipping through it and I'm just like, I remember how beautiful this planner was and how it felt in my hands. And yeah, so we're gonna be switching planners come the fall. And that's about it, honestly. I don't think there's any more changes that I have in mind or that we will actually need. But if anything does arise, then I will try my best to come back on here and talk to you guys about it. I did talk about it with my husband. So it's not that I've had it like here and have not been able to release it. I did have a conversation with my husband because I consider him, I don't want to say the principal of our school, but we are partners in home education. And even though I'm the one teaching here at home, one, he provides the funds to get the materials that I need and he never says no to me. But he's a parent too. He is their parent, he's their other parent. And I feel like it's just as important for me as mom and homeschool teacher to know what each child needs and what I need to focus on with them. I feel like it's just as important for him to know, even though he's not the one sitting here teaching. But it feels really, really good to come here on YouTube and talk to my fellow homeschool mamas about what is on my brain about the next school year. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I know I have not been here for a while. My videos are slowly rolling back in. So if you give it a thumbs up, it really does help me in the algorithm. I really dislike the algorithm, but it is what it is. So yeah, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you find yourself coming back to this channel to find more homeschool videos. And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to let me know down in the comments if you have any recommendations for homeschool curriculums that will fit our needs for the next school year. All right, guys, until next time, see ya.